Hello, welcome to this new video. My name is Martina Vincenzi and I am the founder of the VIP Flight Attendant Academy Private Jet Coach. On today's video, we are going to talk about contract and money. I just would like to clarify a little bit better what are the terminology that we are using in the private aviation industry, and also some general concept that hopefully can help you understand, if you just received an offer from a private jet operator, you can understand better the offer that they are giving to you. Okay, so the contract of the VIP flight attendant, I'm talking specifically in Europe. But where I would say is the most complicated one, probably because every country, although we all belong to the European Union, every country has a different style and different rules sometimes. So anyway, you receive your contract as a VIP flight attendant, and your compensation is normally divided into a fixed part, so the basic salary, and a variable part, which are the per diems. So the basic salary is just a certain amount, which will not change regardless if you fly or if you do not fly. Let's assume, for example, that you fly for an owner, so you are dedicated to that aircraft only. You fly always on the same jet, that registration and nothing else anymore. If that jet goes on maintenance, for example, and let's say it's a big one, like a 3 years maintenance where they have to double check all the wires and, they have to remove the panels inside and check everything everywhere so the jet can stay seated in the maintenance space for quite some time, weeks, okay? So in that case, you cannot fly because you do not have a jet. In this situation, either the company, let's say, recycle you onto another jet temporarily, but if there is no need, you are just sitting at home, minding your own business, basically. You are off, okay? In this case, you're just going to receive your basic salary because you are employed by the company for that jet, and it's not your fault if the jet cannot fly at this moment in time due to maintenance, so you're still gonna receive the basic salary. Normally the basic salary is not necessarily something wow, it's just I would say regular average for the country. Again, it depends on the country where you're living, but it's you can live out of that, but it's not like explosive, okay? What really makes the salary of a VIP flight attendant quite interesting is the per diems, so the variable part of the compensation. The per diems are, let's say, the concept around it is basically an expenses refund of the money that you have to spend out of meals when you are away for work. So when you are, let's say, in New York, when you are, I don't know, in Cape Town, in Tokyo, wherever, you have to spend money to eat, obviously. And the company is basically refunding you a certain amount. It's just a fixed amount, okay? In Europe, this amount goes between 80 and 150 euro, depends on the company. And the per diems are just exactly the same for every crew member, while the basic salary differs between captains and first officer, and also between a senior flight attendant, sometimes between a senior flight attendant and, let's say, a new joiner. The per diems, when you receive your contract, you really have to pay attention and read it carefully, because the contract, it tells you how many times are you entitled to receive these per diems when you are working. So to explain this concept, I'm just gonna tell you a sentence that I think it's worth 1,000 words. And then maybe we can analyze it a little bit better. So here is the sentence. Every flying day is a duty day, but not every duty day is a flying day. Okay? Simple, right? So if you are flying, you are for sure on duty. And therefore you are entitled to have your per diems. But sometimes you are on duty, but not necessarily flying. You might be doing something else. You might be doing on-ground training. You might be doing the recurrent training. You might be doing the medical checks to renew your medical attestation. You might be on standby, for example. So in that case, your contract will specify if you are entitled to get per diems for every duty day. So that means that you always will have your per diems. Just to give you a practical example, if your rotation is composed by 15 days of duty and 15 days off, and you are entitled to get per diems for every duty day, and let's say your per diems is €100, you're gonna get an extra €1,500 because you will get €100 for each and every duty day, which are 15, okay? So easy peasy. Some other contracts may specify that you're gonna get per diems only when out of base. So by base, we're talking about the base of the jet, not the base of the crew member. So if the jet is based, for example, in London, and you can live wherever you want, you just reach London on day one of your duty period, but the jet sits in London for, let's say, 1 week, you're not gonna get a per diem at all during that week, only when the jet flies out of base, okay? Or again, another situation is that you might have a per diem only on flying days. All of this, it is written on your contract, so you just have to read carefully, and then eventually you can get a hint and understand approximately how much you are going to earn. Obviously, if you're getting per diems only on flying days, it's difficult to calculate because you need to know how many days will you actually be flying, and nobody can actually tell you this. It depends, you know, what type of operation the jet does. It depends, let's say it's an owner flying the jet, how busy is this owner, how often he or she wants to take the jet to fly somewhere. So it is even more variable, okay, in this case. But anyway, so you have a little bit of the terminology, and hopefully you can navigate a little bit better into your contract to find out how much you're going to earn eventually. Regarding the contracts, again, I'm talking about Europe because Europe is, let's say, a special case. We are a bunch of countries all together. There are agreements between countries because we all belong to the European Union. However, for some things, you know, a contract issued by a country is better than another one. It really depends. So I would say that nowadays a contract issued by Switzerland or UK are definitely the most well paid. However, a contract issued by Malta for non-Maltese resident, so a specific contract by a Maltese company issue for you, but you are not resident in Malta, it's probably the most convenient tax-wise, because you cannot be resident in Malta in this case, so anywhere else you're gonna get a real great deal when it comes to taxes. Your tax advisor can definitely explain much better this concept. However, just to give you a hint, just to give you an idea of how does it work like. Probably the easiest, absolutely easiest way to get a contract is, I mean, to live your life and, you know, be absolutely fine from the fiscal point of view, is to get a contract and be a resident in the same country where the contract has been issued. So if the company where you work for can provide you, let's say I live in Italy and therefore my company provides me an Italian contract, then I will be sure that all the taxes and the pension will be paid according to the Italian system. Same if you live in France, if you live in Spain, etc., etc. If you have a contract issued by another country, then all these, most probably all these taxes and pension and so on and so forth will be on your, it's your responsibility. and I strongly recommend to get help by a tax or a financial advisor to navigate yourself through it, because it can be quite complicated if you're not familiar with the topic. Anyway, I hope that this can clarify a little bit better. I know Europe, it's certainly more complicated, because we are a lot of different countries, just one close to the other, but it is doable, okay? It's not the end of the world. You can certainly do it. If you have any questions regarding your contract, you must speak, okay? You have to ask to the HR or to a referent of the company who can help you understanding better what is going on. You know now a little trick to understand how to calculate how much you can possibly gonna earn in your new job. And oh, I forgot to talk to you about the overtime. So let's say you have your rotation is composed by 15 days of duty and 15 days off. But let's say this month you flew 17 days because there was some troubles, whatever. They ask you to extend your duty of a couple of extra days. Normally, the 2 days overtime are paid much more. Okay, so it's actually convenient for everyone. So you can, you should find this out in your contract as well. This is for employed. Okay, for people with a contract of employment with a company. If you are a freelance, it's again all another story. But maybe I will discuss this on another video. Well, that's all for today. So ciao for now and baci baci.